Good evening everyone. Today in this video I'm going to specifically talk on the subject of waste management in Gurgaon. I'm going to focus on this city, though the subject is relevant for across the country, across different cities, districts, towns and villages. But today, right now I'm focusing only on Gurgaon because the city is experiencing a crisis in waste management. It's going to be in English, so people who understand this particular language can watch the video. Before proceeding ahead, few warning. It's going to be a very boring video. You're not going to people are not going to like the subject too much. Majority of the people are going to skip the video and will not watch till the end, whether they belong from Gurgaon or not, or they are concerned with waste management or not. I know that, so it's a boring subject. You can skip it. The other people who wish to have some sort of entertainment from watching videos like shorts and reels, 60-second or a 120-second video and feel very happy, please, you can skip and you can leave this particular video. There is no entertainment out here. It's all serious matter. It's matter of governance. It's matter of public importance. So people with really want to have knowledge, for them this is the video. The waste management story in this country, the solving of the waste management problem started from 2016. I'm taking back to a decade before. So in 2016, the then government of India, the central government, framed up a new waste management policy, and set of rules were defined. It's called Solid Waste Management 2016. In short, it's known as SWM 16. They issued a gazette notification, hereby telling the entire country, all the states and union territories, the broad the guidelines, the rules, the procedures pertaining to waste management at different categories. The waste management for municipal solid waste, then there is hospital management, then there is industrial waste, and hence so forth. I am focusing out here on the municipal solid waste, which is the usual garbage which we term it, and the focus point is Gurgaon. Entire NCR is important, but I'm not including Delhi out here. I'm only including Gurgaon. Now, the first step is Solid Waste Management 2016. That's a first step towards a solution to the waste management. Now in this city and even cities surrounding Gurgaon and elsewhere in the country, majority of the people, the citizens, the educated citizens or the highly educated citizens, right from middle to the upper elite, they are not aware of something called Solid Waste Management 2016 rules. It's, I've got a personal experience. I've been researching, analyzing, and without any guilt I can, term it that society at large is not aware what is solid waste management. I've myself, handed these rules and emailed and shared over WhatsApp and other social media platforms. A lot of my colleagues and friends in Gurgaon have also shared it. But largely, the society in Gurgaon is still not aware of what Solid Waste Management 2016 rules are. Very few people have access to it and they are aware of it, or they have actually read the entire paper. Paper is available in both Hindi and English, but people don't read it. So this is the first step. The problem is waste management. That the city is facing huge, massive problem. It's a huge embarrassing. It's horrible condition. Papers, you pick whichever papers in English or Hindi, you go to X or any other social platform, you will find largely on X you will find this massive amount of complaints and public anger pertaining to waste management. Now I'll go to the next step. The government formed the rules Solid Waste Management 16. Now as a rule and a policy, it's supposed to be executed by the state government through the local municipal corporation and departments. Has it happened? No, it has not. And that's where I'm going to come, that why it still hasn't been executed. Now, as per the policy in the rule book, there is supposed to, for example, Gurgaon is there as a city. It is supposed to have 2 to 3 agencies appointed by the government or by the municipal corporation, which will have the responsibility to pick up segregated waste from all the household in Gurgaon city, the Gurgaon municipality, in segregated condition, where the green waste and where the dry waste and some sort of a medical waste, sanitary waste will be picked separately and then carried to their their centers in segregated manner. They are not supposed to be mixed, and then it has to be processed in the later stages. Appointment of these agencies since past decade and a half hasn't been done. For a decade, in the past 10 years, there was one agency which was appointed for Gurgaon, for Gurgaon and for Faridabad, for picking up waste. Now, where was the problem? Let's understand the problem, that why the waste management problem in Gurgaon is not getting solved. Now see, waste is a very complex subject. When waste is generated in a household and even in industries or small industries, it comprises primarily, if I talk about the households, it comprises of the green waste, the fruit peels, the veggies, anything the food which we eat. That's one category. The other category is the plastic, single-use plastic, dry plastic of different forms, your shampoos, your cleaning, dishwashing liquids, detergent, and there are hundreds of other products which you buy in plastic containers. And single-use plastic, you can understand, it's those polypropylene polythene which we use in day-to-day lives. Then there are set of some, for example, you can say some metal items. It can be iron, it can be tin, or it can be of any other metal. Then you have the sanitary waste, which comprises primarily sanitary pads used by women and girls, and you have diapers which are used by infants. And then you have certain sort of combination of some medical waste in households. Something like you will find a lot of these plastic like condoms. You're going to find it. You're going to find a lot of these tablets, some some liquids which some medical portion which you have bought and it's left over, syrups which are there, or something like injection or needle, or if you're diabetic, you're taking a lot of medicines and all, you can have leftover medicines. So you combine, these are sort of a waste which is generated in an average household. Now the part is, as per waste management policy norms, and even if we speak logically, waste in majority of the developed countries and even in developing countries, waste is supposed to be picked in a segregated manner. So the greens, the sanitary pads, napkins, diapers, the plastic, single use, dry plastic, and stuff like condom, injection and other medicines and all, they are not supposed to be mixed with each other. That's a fundamental responsibility what we have to make. That's a duty, that we should not mix them, because once you mix them, they cannot be processed. So green waste cannot be processed into a fertilizer like a compost, whether it can be in your balcony or some agency or some private agency or government agency process into a sort of a community build up, and that's where they convert your greens into compost. It has to be segregated. Then your single use plastic and dry plastic have to be segregated, your metals have to be segregated, and as already explained. So once they are mixed, for For example, if you know think early in the morning and you're mixing all the things in one container or in one some polythene packet and you hand it over to your whomsoever, how you dispose your waste. Then this this mixed waste travels to a particular dump site. First it gets loaded into a truck, go to a dump site, then go to a sort of a big, these landfill mountains. In Gurgaon you have this called this Bandwadi. That's where all the waste is dumped. So once everything is mixed, waste cannot be managed. It's all gone. That's where the Solid Waste Management 2016 rules came, that you have to segregate. Now, when the municipality has to handle the waste management, it hires private agencies. So in past, it hired only one private agency and told them that you are supposed to pick up waste, take it to the processing center and dump the remaining into the Bandwadi. Now, one single agency in such a big city like Gurgaon, it's not some village town, it is a proper big city. It's impossible for one agency to 100% pick up segregated waste from all the households and commercial establishments and then process it. That's a fundamental flaw the state government and the municipal corporation did. Ideally, this city is supposed to have at least 2 to 3 agencies, or the technical term for them is concessionaire, who is supposed to then those 3 agencies or 2 to 3 agencies can be given different divisions and zones ward wise across the city to pick up waste in segregated manner and then process it and dispose it as per the norms. This is one of the most fundamental flaw which existed in past 10 years. That particular one agency has been disbanded few months before, so it's no longer it's not offering its services, it's not on government payrolls. So this is one of the biggest mistake the government committed, because in India waste management is a very largely completely it's unorganized. Only few cities have attained the status, like cities like Indore and Bhopal, Chandigarh. There are some few cities in southern in southern India and place like Ahmedabad and all. They all the only couple of cities who have actually attained a very high benchmark in terms of waste management. So Gurgaon citizens have to understand that this is one of the biggest reason behind the crisis of waste management. One agency is getting appointed, one agency is given all the powers to collect all the waste. That agency is not getting penalized, unless and until public started making hue and cry and complaints. A single agency cannot control, cannot handle, the control is obviously there in the government hand. It cannot manage the entire city. It has to be divided between different agencies. Now, when the work is divided in agencies, these agencies, it will be easier for them to pick up segregated waste from every household. Now, the responsibility I'm going to talk about is on the part of the citizen. If the government appoints 3 agencies or 4 agencies, are the citizens of this particular city capable enough to hand over segregated waste to them? Is their mindset absolutely I'll say grown up? Do they really are they really concerned that yes, we want to solve waste management and we will give segregated waste to the agency, and agency in return is not going to mix the waste and is going to handle the waste properly in a segregated manner, which will inspire the citizens to continuously give them segregated waste. But easier said than done. If I speak and I comment on the social behavior and the duties of entire Gurgaon city, I can tell you only say 3 to 4% of citizens or residents in Gurgaon, because you have a huge, migrated population out here. Only 3-4-5% people are actually interested to give segregated waste, or they are interested remotely to segregate. The remaining, the population, whether they are highly educated or they are mediocrely educated or they are somewhat educated, they are not interested in segregating their waste. Yes, I am putting up a big blame on the society. The government and the municipal corporation alone cannot be blamed. They are responsible, for execution of a law. But for the law to successfully get executed on ground, the society has to comply with the rules. Government has, advertised and marketed solid waste management rules with a huge amount of money, not just in Gurgaon, but government across the countries, across the country, has been spending heavily on promotion of waste management policy and rules. But sadly, in Gurgaon city, such high education, high per capita income, economic condition is very good. Yet 90 to 95% of our residents are not interested to segregate the waste. And this is another big reason behind the failure of waste management in this city. Waste management, segregating the waste, is not a drawing room topic and a subject of discussion within the urban families. They'll buy crores and crores of worth of flats and bungalows and villas, and they'll spend huge amount on luxury cars and roaming around and spend here and there. But the moment you talk about waste management with them, they will run away. They will run away like some ghost has actually arrived. They won't talk to you. Be people who speak English or speak Hindi. I'm not going in that particular language issue. Largely 90%, 95% of the people are not interested to talk on waste management. So even when government try their best, they try to impose fines on different RWAs and housing societies. These societies comprises of normal common citizens, and if they are not going to comply with the rules, they are not going to read the rules, understand the rules, how on earth waste management can be executed on ground? Currently, there is a sort of a national shame or international shame which is happening in Gurgaon. Okay, and after every few days you will find a lot of foreigners, a lot of elite citizens. They are complaining about the waste management, the filth which is there across the city limits. Recently, some French lady or some from Europe, some lady, she has been staying in Gurgaon for a while, and she just told it smells like a pig. That sort of a term she used. And then there are a lot of other people who are coming from other places into Gurgaon, both foreign nationals and even Indian nationals, and they are criticizing the pathetic, the failure of waste management in this city. And being a resident, a citizen of this particular city, I myself admit it's really shameful, embarrassing, humiliating to see the pathetic condition. I'm not sure how many Gurgaon residents have actually seen the Bandwadi dump site. It's not a landfill, it's a dump site. When you go towards Faridabad, you cross the toll, on the right hand side you will find the Bandwadi, the waste mountain. So whenever you come from and go from Faridabad and come from Faridabad, you will find this big huge pile of mountain. Every other day, Times of India and Hindustan Times, these sort of papers are printing news on them. I'm seeing from past 10 years, they're doing it consistently. And yet, the waste management problem still remains a problem and hasn't been solved. So you can understand the seriousness of this particular issue. And it is not possible for me to explain everything, give you all correct knowledge in one particular video. I'll have to make couple of lots of videos on this subject. But I really intend to solve the waste crisis of the city. I don't know how many citizens are going to watch the video till end, because these videos will become long, and only extremely interested people are going to watch it. So I've highlighted two main points. Understanding of solid waste management 2016 rule. That's what Gurgaon citizens have to read, whether in English or Hindi. Second, when the government appoint agency for collection of waste, there has to be around three to four agencies. Recently it has been heard that the corporation has actually issued some sort of a tender, it has been approved, some 2-3 agencies going to come. But on what on what guidelines those agencies are coming, I'm still not aware of. So those agencies are going to get appointed, and those agencies are supposed to pick up segregated waste from our houses. And third, then we citizens or residents have to hand over segregated waste to these agencies, and we have to ensure and demand from the corporation that the segregated waste should not be mixed, which has been happening since past around 10 years. A lot of societies started giving segregated waste, but after moving out of the society, the agency people who used to collect the waste, they used to mix it up, and there were a lot of hundreds of videos which have been made. So the entire purpose gets defeated, and this is a big complaint which all the citizens bodies have been making it to the ministers, to the government, to the admins, to the bureaucrats, that we give segregated but your agency mixes it. And if the agency is only one, how on earth they will have some sort of fear? There have to be a competition between 2 to 3 to 4 agencies, and then this entire waste management is going to get executed. Lastly, I'm going to focus more again on segregation. See, the green waste which is generated in your household can be converted into compost. You can go on on YouTube, or you can search on your search engine, and you can go and ask AI how to convert green waste into compost. If you don't have facility, you can seek some you can make up communities, but currently in Gurgaon or in India that does not happen. But as just the knowledge I am giving you, that green can be converted into compost, whether you do it or whether your municipal corporation converts it. Secondly, the single-use plastic usage has to drastically get reduced. If you mix it with your green waste, then your entire waste is gone. It's of no use. You are supposed to hand over your single-use plastic separately to the agency. You have to separate the dry plastic, something like the big containers in which you get your refined oils, and you get your, earlier in the video I mentioned about it, that you can give it to your scrap person or the plastic recyclers. They will recycle it, and they will again use it in the manufacturing process. So that's how that particular plastic will get recycled. Single use plastic cannot be recycled, it has to be just disposed by the government. Then comes the sanitary pads and the napkin part. You have to wrap it separately in some newspaper or some cardboard, and then hand it over to your agency. It is not happening in Gurgaon. Sanitary and green waste get mixed, and diapers and sanitary pads are a huge percentage in waste management. You can understand, almost every other household you have girls and women, and you have small babies, so you can imagine the amount of sanitary pads and diapers, the waste getting generated, and we can't avoid it. They are being used. And then you have the waste of the metals and other forms of paper, stuff which you give it to your scrap person. And then you have some things like your refrigerators and your other electronic and electrical items that you can again give it to your scrap person or to the recycler. So this is how segregation industry actually function. This happens across the world, but India and in Gurgaon this is not happening. So in this video I've highlighted the 3 main important reasons that why waste management crisis is looming over our entire city. It's a millennial city, people are making millions and billions out here. Okay, that's the aspiration for people who migrate to this particular city. But what is the city giving in return to them? The sanitation standard and the civic standard is absolutely disgusting. The waste management completely gone. I am trying my best, my years of my research I'm sharing with you all so that this problem can be solved. This video I'm concluding, and as I said, I will do my duty of posting multiple videos on this subject, whether someone watches it or not. I am doing my duty as a citizen, giving all the correct reasons behind the huge crisis, the shameful crisis which we have. If the citizens of Gurgaon don't understand it, then God only help it. I don't know how they're going to learn. I'm making this video in English. I will also make this particular video in Hindi, because you have people in the city who speak both the languages, and large part is Hindi, but still a very high percentage of Gurgaon understand and they communicate in English. So I hope you guys understand the elements of this video. Intentionally I am not sharing any images, any videos. I want you to listen to me and then understand, carefully pay attention, and if you have any questions you can ask me, I'll clarify. See you again in next video, where I'll be elaborating on further deep reasons behind the failure of waste management, the crisis of waste management in Gurgaon city. Bye bye for now. Thanks.